No, we didn't do live yesterday because I wasn't here. We will stop the live portion once we hit the Q&A
The
part.
Q&A part, yeah.
But we will be recording the Q&A part only because Holly and I. Oh, see, I need to stop that right now. It's so funny how it.
All right. Well, that's my cue then, I think.
Yes.
Are we
So
ready?
we are ready, darling.
Okay. So now we got to do the welcome. Most of you have been here all week, but those of you watching us on the old YouTubes, welcome to our 8-day mini course on how to find and write the story that your heart is most hungry for. And we're on day 8 of this journey, and what a journey it's been. It's been really fun to be with all of you. We just thank you for coming up with all your great questions and, spirit of camaraderie. And as promised on this final day, we're going to talk about how to make a plan to ensure that you see your story through to the end. To basically make good on what your heart, that your heart wants. But before we dive in, for those of you that are watching that don't know who the heck we are, you've just shown up this
Who
one
are these
time.
women?
And that was my kitten running in the background. I'm Holly Payberg Teroyha. I'm a writer, producer, and former development exec who found my true passion in coaching writers, thanks to this lovely Kelly person here who helped me figure that out. Yeah, and when I say again, coaching writers, I mean literally being more of a life coach for writers, helping them through the process, because that is the trick. Being a writer every day, continuing to choose it, continuing to learn how to manage all the inner and external critics, and how to go deeper and all that good stuff. That's what I help people with. That's my passion. And I partnered up with Humans on the Verge and this lovely human who will tell you who she is.
And I just want to say something about Holly's definition of what she does with people. And she is more like a life coach that helps you through the process.
Mhm.
But having just spent 2 days inside of her process, because I'm helping convert things from fiction to nonfiction and memoir right now, Holly, you are also a master of understanding story structure
Hmm.
and character development and tone. So, yes, you are actually your magic and your gift is about the emotional journey for writers and keeping them open and in flow with their process. But you also are a humdinger of a person who understands what the fuck is going on in a story. So just wanted to say that. And there's some way for you to add that in the future to kind of describing what your magic is.
I appreciate
I, you're very welcome. It's just truth because I was like reading the stuff going, "Ugh, this is so fun." I'm Kelly Carlin-McCall. I am an author. I am a depth psychologist. That's someone who has studied the depth of the unconscious, the human unconscious, both personal and collective. I'm a podcaster, an Emmy Award-winning TV producer, and founder of Humans on the Verge, which is an online community that supports creatives in their writing projects and others who are seeking deep and long personal change. My memoir is A Carlin Home Companion, was published 10 years ago by St. Martin's Press. And just one note on the St. Martin's Press, they were, oh God, I'm totally spacing right now. They were in the building in New York, the thin triangle one. What the hell is that building
Oh,
called?
yes, I know which one you're talking
I'm
about.
totally
Mhm.
The
spacing.
Flatiron.
Mhm.
Yes, the Flatiron Building. And I got to go inside it and visit my editor there. And almost more than anything else, I was more excited about that than anything about getting my book deal. So anyway, it's just a strange little fact about me. That is who we are.
Yes. And so now that you know, we are going to dive in because this last of the talks is all about making sure you make that plan. Because that is one passion that we have is we know what happens when you finally actually make good on that thing that is in your creative soul. Sometimes it has to tap, tap, tap for a long time to even get your attention. And then, when it finally gets your attention, then sometimes it's a long time before you're the adult in the room that finally goes, you know what, people? I know everything seems like the house is on fire, but if I don't get my hour a day of writing in, I'm never going to make good on this thing I told myself I would. And it's when you finally do make good on that, it's just not only is it great, but it also creates this thing where you start to trust yourself. You start
Mm,
to know that if you have a plan, you will be there for you to execute the plan, and this level of self-trust forms that is something you can use over and over again. So yeah, any of you entrepreneurs in the room also know that
yep. It's
it's the same kind of thing.
it's a great point, Holly. And thinking back on my urge to write my solo show, which then came and turned into a memoir, I knew that if I didn't do that thing, and if I was on my deathbed, I would have felt like I had not done my life.
Mhm.
And that's when I really claimed myself that, oh, I must be a creative if this is the thing that has to happen. Like some people, it's having kids. Some people, it's building a rocket ship to Mars or whatever. And those are all creative acts too, by the way. But this writing thing absolutely had to happen. And you're right about the trustworthiness. The minute I took myself seriously around it, something calmed down inside of me.
Mm,
I didn't feel so slippery with myself, and I felt like I was in good hands. And maybe it's the part of me that dreams and needs to build or make or create,
yeah,
felt like it was finally being taken seriously.
absolutely. And so obviously, or we wouldn't do these 8-day courses like this. Kelly and I would love to be your shepherds through this entire process and create the things we're about to tell you for you. But we also know everybody's at different stages of their lives and have different budgets and all that kind of stuff. So we're telling you this both so that what we're about to tell you, both so that you understand what we can do for you so you can come in if you want, but also so that you know what you're going to need to do for yourself if you need to go it alone, so to speak,
Yeah,
or whatever you need to do.
no
Like,
matter what, you're going to need some of these things on
mhm.
this list because this is how you get stuff like this done. There's just no way around it.
Truly, and it matters. We really think at these times, both of us feel like that is some of our actual work in the world to inspire as many people as possible to reconnect with their damn hearts and la 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 and listen to your own heart and put out whatever it is that's yours to write and yours to express. It's going to matter definitely to you. And then possibly, definitely your immediate circle. And for some of you, maybe the whole damn world. So
You never know.
yeah, you just don't know. So it's important is what we believe. And yeah, if we can help you really, and it starts with this is what we were saying, step number one in making your plan and making sure that you make good on this to yourself is really the decision, like a promise that you make with yourself. It's not that whole joke about trying is what you do on the way to giving up. Basically, no, you have to you really have to just make a decision. You have to say to yourself, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I don't know if I'll get derailed a few times along the way. I don't know if it'll end up taking a different form than where I started. A lot of those things probably will happen. Um, but that doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is that you decide right then and there
Yep.
that no matter what, you are going to, you know, commit to that for yourself. You're going to give yourself that however it has to happen. Even if you can only give 15 minutes a day to the thing,
And,
you're gonna do it.
yeah, and so it's deciding to get serious and it's deciding to commit. Um, and it's not deciding on the how or the what or all of that
Yeah,
part,
you
but it
don't
is I am going to give undivided attention and all of myself to this thing a certain amount of time,
Yeah.
5 to 7 days a week, or 3 to 7 days a week, whatever it is.
Yeah, and some people need different things to commit. For some people, it's easier for them to commit. For other people, they won't commit unless there's something on the line. They join a program and they've got other people expecting something, you know
They call it
you.
accountability in the coaching
Yeah.
world.
You
Yeah.
know you,
Yeah.
and what you need, and so that's you just have to assess that and go, what do I need? And make that decision. And then the other part is, as a gift for, making that decision, you also need to give yourself permission to have a dream about it, a vision that excites you. And so Kelly was going to do a little thing to help, today
Yeah.
help you have that vision a little bit.
I had a little kind of download the other day, which is kind of how Holly and I create. I mean, it's how we all create, right? We get these kind of downloads. And so I just wanted to give you a chance um, uh, to just imagine for a moment. And if you just want to close your eyes briefly and just take a deep breath in, just to shift the mood here a little bit. So close your eyes and just and give yourself permission to kind of let your imagining mind, your dreaming mind to come into. And and let yourself imagine in whatever form it shows up, and it doesn't have to be the form that it's going to show up, but just for now, I want you to see the physical thing that if you were to commit to this project, this writing project, whatever's at the other end of that, this physical thing that you have made, I want you to see it out into the world. It may be a book. It may be you're sitting in an actual theater where a film is being shown, or a play, or a solo show. It may be, something online, some sort of form online. But I want you to see the end product right now, fully realized and in the physical world, and let your imaginations do that for you. Give yourself permission to go there. And now I want you to imagine the ideal audience member that you wrote this for. It could be a loved one. It could be some person that walked the same walk you did. It could be some inner part of you. It could be younger you. Let that person emerge, that ideal audience member. It does not have to be the perfect answer also. Remember, we're just playing here. And that this seed of an idea ultimately wanted to serve this person through your writing and story. And it could be the family member who just wants to know the family history, or a person who needed to not feel so alone in the world, or another person to be able to learn how to dream and see life through the lens of fantastic characters. Or maybe it's your ancestors, or a younger part of you, like I said, or others in an audience who needed to hear and see the contribution to the human story that you would not, so that they would not feel so alone in the world. And now I just want you to imagine, for fun, shits and giggles, as we like to say, imagine yourself in a place where you're talking about your finished project. You may be on a panel. You may be on Stephen Colbert. You may be talking to audience members, or a single reader, or a family member. And I just want you to just absorb and feel the impact that this work had on them. Let yourself just take that in. It doesn't have to be specific words, it may be, but let yourself feel the energy and the gratitude and the appreciation the audience has for the gift that you shared with them. And now I want you to turn to the part within you, the story seed that started it all, that lit up, that glowed, that nudged you, that gave you the idea that would not leave you alone, that insisted that you write it. And I want you to see how grateful this story seed, truly, truly grateful, that part of you is. That's your being. How grateful it is because you listened to it, you honored it, you respected it by not ignoring it, by not burying it, by not telling it that it's not important, but by taking your time and your effort and hard work and emotional sweat and resources Space, time, yes, even money sometimes in order to manifest this thing into the world. And let yourself just feel that. This is the ending. This is the place you want to get to with this plan, with this yes, with this decision, with this choice. Let it be real to you because it is real, you guys. You're all fucking here. Something brought you to this call, something brought you to the idea. And now we can come back into the space when you're ready. And if you need to just jot a few things down, an image or something, feel free to do that.
Oh my God, that totally worked on me.
Yay! I haven't done it for myself yet for this project, but I will. Maybe I'll have to listen to the recording of me just doing it just now.
Ah. Well, because remember I told you I'm gonna work on the Holy Rainbow Church book which is, basically she creates a performing arts church
Because why not?
because performing arts is church, yeah.
Truly.
And all of a sudden I was like, yeah, I pictured my audience. I'm like, oh, a bunch of weirdos that never fit anywhere like me are in their joy singing
Mm,
and playing and doing performing arts. Yeah, that was fun.
yeah. And a
It's
couple people are just sharing that they got emotional. And yeah, it is emotional because that part is whew, that part is longing, you guys. There is a
it
longing
is.
for this stuff. And it's not just about the story, it's about sharing our humanity with each other.
Yeah, so this goes hand in hand with the decision because it is a big decision. You're making a commitment to yourself to run a friggin' marathon, and to do something as writers, writers get so little support out in the world. Hell, even even in Hollywood or in the publishing world, people like to act like, or in the music industry, like to act like writers are not that important. My husband and I were just talking about that today. I think they don't want us to know how powerful we are when we're literally the ones creating
The
the thing,
worlds. Yeah.
and yet, and when you say you're going to write, people are like, they don't want you to get your hopes up, or they're like, what have you
Yeah.
published, or have and yet there's no way to get to being published or produced as a writer, period, until you've spent friggin' sometimes decades prepping yourself for the possibility of that. It's deep, profound work. So it's like making that commitment. You do need to do just what Kelly did and remind yourself what's in it for you, so that you'll make that commitment to yourself. And then the rest of it is nuts and boltsy stuff. Like you've got to make a real plan. So like when I say that, I mean, yeah, step number 3 is like put it on the calendar.
Yep.
Like it needs to be on the calendar. I advocate for, which is why we do it in our program. We have the daily practice. It's 8 a.m. on the East Coast and 8 a.m. on the West Coast. Some people come to both. Um, don't have to, but it's just literally an hour where we show up and we write. And I do that because I realized for a long time I was making writing too big of a hairy deal and it wasn't on the calendar. Oh my God. And it just taunted me all day long. And like, and I
The
was in
worst. I
development.
have to say, the
Oh,
worst thing is if you don't write in the morning or you don't write your normal thing, the
you'll drive
fucking
yourself
taunting
crazy
and haunting is
all day long,
crushing,
all
crushing
day
to me.
long.
Yeah.
And I was at the time right before I wrote my first screenplay, I was working as a development exec. So I was reading other people's writing all day and doing all that stuff. And it was a really long day. And so I would get home at like 7 at night, and then I just want to be with my husband and like, I
Edge.
always said I was going to write when I got home, never did, and then just tortured myself forever, until finally, another friend of mine who was an executive as well. She was like, "Holly, when are you going to write that script?" And I was like, "I don't have time." And she's like, "How many pages are in a script?" And she knew I knew that, I'm like 110. She's like, "So if you wrote one page a day, when would you be done?" I was like,
Oh, fine. Be that way. Bring logic and reality into it. Fuck you.
"Oh, yeah." And so finally, that's when it hit me. And I'm like, if I could just, I was not a morning person at the time at all. But what I did is I made a plan that I was going to get up 45 minutes earlier. That was as much as I would allow myself.
Mm.
45 minutes earlier than I was already getting up to go to work. And I literally would fling myself into the shower so that I was awake before I could talk myself out of it, and then get my coffee and go sit and write for 45 minutes. And that is how I finished my first screenplay. It was in those 45 minutes. And the added benefit, which I didn't expect at the time, and this is why I advocate for it now, is the rest of my day was completely different.
Uh, yes, Holly, I was going to say there's a mental health aspect to this.
Hmm.
If you have something brewing and stewing, if there's a story seed in you and you are ignoring it,
Hmm.
your anxiety and depression, which we are creatives, we're already fucking bipolar on some scale. I don't know what scale it is. Um, uh, the scale goes, the loops go much higher if you're not honoring. If you are honoring, man, my day is so much better. Even doing these the last 8 days, I told Holly last week, because I've been in a really dark place in my life the last fucking 6 months. I was like, man, my mood has been fucking great because I'm showing up every day, doing my work, which is sharing. This is, Holly, part of our
Yep.
work in the world, part of our story seed is doing this, sharing with you guys. So it is your mental health. It's kind of better than therapy on some
It
level.
really is. I
I mean,
suddenly
therapy is
my top,
important for people who need it, but because I need
yeah.
it sometimes, but whew, yeah.
I even liked washing the dishes better. It's so dumb.
Interesting.
It's like even that, because I had done the thing for me.
Yes, you weren't going, I should be writing instead of
Mhm.
washing dishes.
Everything
Interesting.
used to be in the way,
Hmm.
and suddenly it wasn't in the way. And and some days that 45 minutes was very not productive. And some days it was so productive that I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? How did I get that much done in that short amount of time? And
Yeah. How
so
did it all finally come together when I've been kind of hitting a wall? And then it does. That's, as we all know, the
Well,
writing
because
process.
also I always joke, if you make a standing appointment like that, and if you're one of those people that can't make that appointment without other people, then join the daily practice. It is cheap and you need to do that at
Yeah.
the very least.
I'll tell
Otherwise,
you all about
you
that in
do
a
it
minute.
yourself, or if you're not a morning person, some people are night people, whatever it is, you got to know you and what you'll stick to. It's not about what I just like morning because it's fresh. You've had a whole night's sleep and you wake up, and if you wake up early enough, there's technically no emails that have to be
Yeah,
returned.
this hasn't
There's
interrupted yet.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, there's nothing that has to be done yet. So it really is your cubby. It's like, I'm not awake yet. Nobody knows. Nobody's awake. I'm doing my creative for me. And yeah, most people that start doing that start protecting it like a bear. And you should. So no matter what you do, that is part of that alone. That alone it's just math. If you keep showing up every day like that, it's an appointment. The creative fairies know where you are. They're like, oh, okay, are we actually doing this? Because I will send you downloads if we're really doing this. And then
Yeah.
also throughout the day, there's fun little magic that happens when you have a consistency like that. It's like you go in the coffee shop and all of a sudden there's somebody that is behaving exactly like a character you want to develop, or like all these fun little moments
The
happen.
the
Just,
right the writing continues not when you're just writing, but
yeah,
when you're sitting and writing every day, then the writing really gets to continue the rest of the
yeah.
day. And the note taking can happen, and then the sitting down in the morning and, doing it more.
Yeah. Oh, and as a part of this one, also, I will just add, some of you might have to renegotiate with some of the people in your life or that live in your immediate surroundings. Um, and that's hard for some people because some people aren't even admitting they're a writer yet, or want to admit that they're about to dedicate some real time to something they have no proof of where it's going to go or whatever. And you have to do it anyway. You have to have the courage to say, this is important to me and this is my time. Nobody interrupt me. Get yourself a little do not disturb sign and permission. And yeah, you do that thing. You gotta
And
have.
And we get nervous about renegotiation,
Mhm.
especially in intimate relationships or things
Mhm.
like that. But it's funny how when you renegotiate for yourself something like this, it gives the people around you permission to also take care of themselves in a different way or to finally take care of themselves, maybe.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I just want to say it's actually part of the personal growth of the process of claiming this for ourselves.
It really is. That's a journey you keep claiming it more and more and more as time goes on. But like
Yeah,
I said, I've had some of my students that would barely do that, and now they're like, don't touch my creative time.
yeah,
Back
love
off.
it.
Yeah. And so number four, I would say, is you really do need some kind of process you can lean into. Either there's tons of books on writing, and then there's also like we have a full curriculum, like Kelly said, that will lead you literally every step of the way and give you constant permission to focus only on the next task at hand until you've built your whole thing. I was talking to Tanya yesterday, and I was like, "Yeah, you don't have to know anything about right." I swear to you, the people that have used my curriculum, it's not necessary to know anything. You just have to keep showing up. It's like, what was it, Michelangelo? That's like
The
the thing was already in there. You
in the
just took
marble,
it
yep,
away.
yep,
And my opinion is your story's already in there. And so I just ask you a billion questions so
yep.
that it helps you chisel. And that's what a lot of the books do too. Like if you're on a budget and you get one of those books. And a lot of people won't buy them, like Save the Cat or The Virgin's Promise or whatever. They won't buy them. In fact, I was one of those people. It's a
Oh
real
yeah,
stubborn.
I've
I
got
was
two
a
shelves of them.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
was a
yeah.
stubborn little asshole when I was younger and thought, well, then it won't be original. I don't want to follow any of these things until, and then and then I got some later in my journey and was like, oh, I see. It's all it's doing is a writer has to bounce their brain off of something. It's not the boss of you, and my curriculum's not the boss of you either. It is it's your brain will drive you nuts, and there's again too many unanswered questions at the beginning of a writing project, and so you need something that helps you start narrowing in your mind a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
don't do it
basically
alone.
it's kind of the disclaimer that I wrote for the memoir writers because we all worry, well, like my life doesn't fit into the hero's journey or this structure or that structure. No, it doesn't. But you need some container for
Mhm.
the initial, here's the characters, here's the journey, here's the beginning, here's the end, here's the theme, here's
Mhm.
the sequence. And then
Yeah,
from that, reinvent. I mean, we see people reinventing it all the
exactly.
time, and that's fascinating when we do it. And there's so many as many humans as there are on Earth, there are ways to do this stuff. But as either a beginner or at
Hmm.
the beginning of a project, you need some loose
Hmm.
structure that helps you just get it down so that then you do have the pieces. And then the next part of the writing is playing with the pieces, playing
Yep.
with the order, blah, 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 blah. But if especially if you're new to this process, it really, really helps to have, they're just, they're just handrails. That's all they are.
They are. I
Yeah.
use my own curriculum. It's a little odd, but I use my own curriculum every time because but you get to the point where once you know the process, you're like, oh, right, 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 right.
Mhm.
You get the reminder and you're like, yeah, no, I got to figure this out. Okay. Da, 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 da. And you know how to break the rules, but it's in the beginning, you really do need something that you can bounce off of.
And the full spectrum is if you are a highly motivated, self-motivated person who does not need permission to do any of this, then a book is probably okay. You can probably grab a book and do it. But I would say that's like one out of a million people, especially when it comes to creatives, because we are hardwired on some level to not honor this process.
Yeah.
And so this gives you, when in doubt, when in anxiety, when confused, when unmotivated, having a community and a curriculum, we'll get to community in a minute, but having a curriculum will at least let you go, okay, today all I need to do is figure out what happens with the but up.
Exactly. And the only reason, because there are the only reason you see stuff out there that's so formulaic that you can predict it and is so annoying, and the reason people don't want to use things like Save the Cat is because a lot of those writers were lazy as hell, and they just used the formula, and that's where they ended.
Yeah.
When the formula is just because there is an archetypal through line to everything. It's just that's the
It's how
engineering of story.
we are hardwired to tell
Yeah.
story.
But
It's
then you have to layer it with, like we were talking the other day, with all your specificity and your originality. And you can mess with the order once you
break
understand
the
it all.
rules.
You can break all the rules once you actually bother to give yourself the chance to know. So I would say those books only give you the chance they help you know the story. Some of them claim they're helping you write the story. I would say use it as a technique to help you know the story
That's a
and then figure
great.
out, they'll tell you that, but don't listen.
That's a really, I think, powerful distinction right there.
Right?
You will know the story. You'll intellectually understand. I
Mhm.
studied Robert McKee's story structure,
Mhm.
like, and I can take any movie, formulaic movie, and put it perfectly in the structure. The minute it becomes a more original movie, the structure is like useless.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But there's that core.
But you
It
have to
still hit all those
understand,
points somehow. It
you,
just did it in its own
yeah,
way that's
there,
exciting,
there
fun.
is a setup, there is action,
Mhm.
and there's an outcome. For sure, we know that much.
And so let it help you, but let it be the beginning.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of don't go it alone with this brain. And that brings us to what I believe is step number 4.
Five. We're at five now.
Oh, it's at 5.
It's okay. I'm making it
I'm
up as we go
willy-nilly.
along.
I'm adding shit. Yeah, the I say get a coach. And again, I say that with another caveat. I know I understand people's stuff. If you can't afford a coach, get one of your friends who's a writer to be your coach, but don't get any frustrated writers.
Wow.
Seriously, you don't want shadow artists, shadow writers, anything like that. You want somebody who is in their zone and they're happy and they're excited and can hold the high watch for you. Because the reason I say get a coach is just like, I mean, no athletes go through a major process without a coach, and entrepreneurs always have a coach too. And writing is one of
Or a
those.
mentor of some kind. Yeah.
They write books like The War of Art for a reason, and it's because it's no matter of if, it's when. You will get activated by your own story if you're writing a great one. You will want to quit sometimes. I've wanted to quit so many times, I can't believe it. You will, like someone was talking about the other day, tell yourself you're just a procrastinator and worthless when really you were pondering, and it's okay. And a coach would remind you that, like, or you'll get stuck on a certain direction or a story point and you can't see the forest from the trees. And somebody else could be like, but, a good coach will do that, and help you parse your way through and help you remember that that this is all normal, that everyone suffers from that it's not that you don't have talent or all the things you tell yourself.
And I want to say something about AI because there may be people here
Oh,
who are like, oh, I'll just ask ChatGPT to be my coach. Fine, but let's remember that these programs are in general do not know your whole story, do not see you, probably do not have the human experience that you need, that someone like a mentor or a coach or even a fellow writer can give you. And they are programmed to appease and please. And a coach is someone who will say, God, I'm hearing this voice that keeps showing up in
mhm,
you. And, and this is where kind of the life coaching part comes up, where the people who are more experienced in really holding and understanding what happens to psyche in a process like this.
mhm.
And AI cannot replace that. at this time in 2025. I don't know, give it some time possibly. And, and that will happen. I have no doubt there will be AI writing coaches in the future.
Mhm,
But I also know that part of what we're doing is we're telling human stories.
mhm.
And you could not vacuum in enough human books and be a LLM generating machine and understand what it is to be a human. So I just want to say that humans are necessary in this process.
They
That's my
are.
stand right now
Well,
for
and it's
sure.
also necessary for the standpoint of like when you're one day, like Kelly said on the Stephen Colbert show, if you didn't really write it yourself and really go through the experience, there's not going to be that much to talk about, frankly. Nor is there the same kind of level of satisfaction and whatever. It's
You're not
like
going to be
you,
able to own it,
yeah.
basically.
It's
You
like
just
you could
won't.
get a helicopter to drop you off on the top of Mount Everest, assuming,
Yes.
but
And that's and clearly people are doing that. People, you can do it either way. You can Sherpa up or you can, or you can fly up. But
but if you're gonna do it yourself, a coach, we're back to
yeah, if you want to feel like I did this thing, it's going to be because you actually did do it.
yeah, and a human coach that understands your very
Yeah.
human
Yeah. It's
feelings.
even frightening that I needed to mention the AI coach thing, but it's so happening already. So anyway.
Ah, all right, and then finally, number six,
Hmm.
which I highly, highly, highly recommend, which I did not do for the longest time and now do, is to make sure you have a community. Um, Again, you can create a community for yourself or you can borrow ours. But either way, you need one, for several reasons. First of all, writing can be super duper lonely. And then when you have your ahas or you have your struggles or you have your excitement even that you want to share, um, other people don't understand it quite the same way that other writers do. It's just a thing. It's just like with anything that you specialize in. It's the other people that are in there in the game specializing that thing. They understand it in a different way. And then there's another reason that I did not just believe me now because I made this huge mistake. I always thought when I was out in Hollywood that my writing would speak for itself, that if I focused on my craft and kept my head down and wrote the best possible stories I could ever write, that then that would be the thing.
That's all you needed.
No, not
Mm,
the thing. I
mm,
needed to be building networks
mm.
of other people in the industry, particularly other writers who, as you come up, have a connection with a publisher or have a connection with an agent or understand the road a little bit ahead of you or all those kinds of things. I needed help with all of that, and the time to get that kind of help is not when you have a finished manuscript and you're like, okay, and you're trying to get everyone to read it and nobody has a relationship with you and they're not gonna. Why should they be your advocate for this? Why should they spend half their weekend reading your story and then deciding, yes, it's brilliant and I will champion you, all that stuff. You have to build your networks when you don't need anything,
Yeah, that's
and really love these people. Find your people, really love your people. And then also it makes success all the sweeter. Like people would say network, and I just didn't understand that. I
well, it's
thought
such a
saying
horrible
is
word. We
use
hate
people.
it. It's corporate. Ah!
Yeah, it's not using people when you genuinely invest in their life and they invest in yours. And then you get to a place, there's a reason why some of those people that win those big awards, you can tell when they're thanking all their people, they're genuinely thanking them and they've been through a whole, and a lot of times the people that do win awards, they do have a legion of people they are thanking.
Oh, decades, decades of them if they are not
Yeah.
egotistical shits. But but
Yeah.
yes, if they truly are uh you know, good, mature adults, they know it
Yeah.
takes a village. Everything takes a village. This idea of being an individual in this
Yeah.
world, yes, it takes your individuality to sit down and write this thing and let that come through in that seed of story to evoke. Like that's your soul path part.
Mhm.
But everything else on the planet takes a freaking village. We are
Yes.
completely interdependent on everything, every moment. And we pretend like we're not, that's
And if you find the right people, it's way more fun. I mean,
well,
Kelly
this
and
is
I,
like
we're both
this
doing
eight
all
days
this
have been
stuff.
this.
Yeah, we've been doing just fine on our own with our own businesses. But this is way more fun.
Yeah,
We've been having so much more fun
our
since.
partnership's been amazing. Totally.
Yeah, it's a blast. So
Yeah.
it's like, for so many reasons.
Yep.
And then Kelly, remind them also there's another point about needing other writers because sharing with others what can happen, you were saying
Oh,
here.
yeah, yeah, that idea of so there's a for all of you who are in the writing already, know that there's a time where if you share to the wrong person, it bursts a I just want to use the word sacred space about it that needs to be held. In Jungian psychology, we call it the temenos. It's the safe space where the cooking is happening. It's the belly of the womb of the mom. Like it would be like introducing the world to the baby in the womb too early. But in a group of writers, you can present your belly and everyone else in the group has the baby in the womb and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know what that feels like." Or you can share a little bit of the story or a little moment, and it's going to be held in a way. There's not going to be any poking at it. There's not going to be any expectation around it. It's going to be held in a very beautiful, gentle way. And certainly the way we create community here, we're all about that.
Yep.
So that is important because there will be a part of you that'll be like, oh my God, I just wrote this scene today and I have to share it with
Mhm.
somebody. It's so amazing. And you can't sometimes you can turn to your spouse. I'm lucky I can turn to my spouse in those moments, but some things I can't even turn to him with.
Yep.
I have to call a particular kind of person or be in a particular kind of room and go, okay, this is really messy and everything like that, but I think I'm onto something. Do you mind if I read this to you?
Yep.
And there's nothing better than that moment to have that person or those people there for you.
Those people that get it, they know
Yes.
they're not going to mess with your thing. They're just gonna they know how to cradle you because they know how they need to be cradled, and it's nothing against all the other
No,
understanding people.
they're
It's
lovely.
just
They're lovely. They'll bring you tea or make you dinner and just shove the plate in front of you because you're in it, or whatever. But
Yeah.
be careful. Be careful with who you share too quickly because there are also those writers that Holly talked about, which we talked about earlier. Like if you are going to go it alone,
Hmm.
do not give anything to frustrated creatives or frustrated writers or people who have it unconsciously out for you because they will shit on you, even your decision to do it. They will be the projected voice of your inner critic, and it could take you years to recover from that. Just letting you know, because that's what happened to me.
Yeah,
It can take you years to muster the courage back up. So whatever you do when you commit to this, be careful and take care of yourself with it.
absolutely. Because there are also people, and I realized this too late, but there's a lot of people that are very afraid to dream any big dream. They're so protective of disappointment. They have deep fears of failure and all that kind of stuff. So they won't even let themselves try stuff
Yeah. And so
because
you become a huge threat to that
and so the
because
second you have a dream, yeah, and if they love you, they think they're loving you by going, "Oh, don't do that. You might get disappointed. You might," and they don't understand that writers and creatives in general, it hurts us more not to go for it than it does to fit failing, whatever. That's just par for the course.
well, but you bring up a good point about this. That why you created Loving the Process to begin with is because, writing and creating, especially writing story, is there's many days of confusion. It's not working. I'm just putting it down. There's it is a shitty first draft moment. There's a lot of vomiting that goes on first.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of perfect days where you're like every day is like, oh, I'm just marching ahead with this. There's stuff that needs to come up, and it's a process.
Well, and
And
life keeps
and
lifing.
yeah, and so, the saboteur, the inner saboteur and the outer saboteurs are only going to make the nature of this process harder because you're not surrounded by other people who get the process that it's like, oh, I wrote today and I feel like I just needed to kind of get that out of my system and there's really nothing that I'm going to put in the piece, but
Mhm.
I just had one of those days where I just needed to kind of do the thing. Or I'm stuck. I don't know what to do with this moment or something. And so there is an inherent confusion and frustration in the creative process of it, and
Mhm.
that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. So is there in life. But it's about giving yourself all the chance to recover over and over again with joy and ease, actually,
So,
in those moments.
and so those are the main, those are the things, all that we mentioned just now, that actually, deciding, allowing yourself to dream,
Yep.
putting it on the damn calendar as a, part of your work day, so to speak, making sure that you have a process to follow, getting a coach if you can, having a community if you can. Those are all the things that we know that are
Work.
the things that will ensure that you actually do make good on that promise to yourself and make good on your story and all that. And so that's what we did. Like, this program was designed to offer all those things that we wished we would have had and wished somebody would have said, just do this, and you'll be fine. But we encourage you, whether you do it or not, to join us, or no, what I'm saying is whether you can join us or not, to do those things.
Yes, no matter what, do these
Yeah, do
things
those
because
things.
the
Do
seed of
yourself.
your story
Yeah,
requires it. And if you want to join us, she just put a link in the
yeah.
chat there for you. And what's that link exactly for, Holly?
I'm gonna show you. I just made a little link
Oh,
so
cool.
it's easy. That link will take you here. And it's the way to get on a discovery call, but it also mentions what's included in our program so that you know. And it's access to the full curriculum that takes you through every stage of the process from idea to completion. It's in our full coaching program, you also get twice a month coaching calls that turn into table reads, um, for memoir sooner rather than later, for the fiction after a
Eh,
while.
Yep.
Um, but we're meeting with a small group of people that you get to know so well. Others can testify they are your best friend.
Family.
They are your family. Yeah, they become your writer family if you go
Yeah.
through a year with these people, because we
Yeah.
go deep and we really love on each other because it's necessary. And then you get, obviously, the 12-month membership too. We have a online community that is our own. It's not Facebook or anything like that. It's just its own platform. And
And
we
it's private.
Yeah, and we share with each other a lot on there as well. You can, it's the private place where you can share your writing and your inspirations and thoughts and all that jazz. It's what you wish Facebook was, but it is not. Um, and then, of course, the daily practice is built in. If you want to come to our calls, they're 8 a.m. Eastern time and West Coast time, for an hour. And then we have 3 virtual weekend retreats throughout the year, because even though we advocate for, little by little, we also advocate for every now and then you got to take a nice running leap over your critics.
And,
Just
and,
focus.
and those 3 weekends are the core of the curriculum and the core of to really to help you
Yeah.
map out and
Yep.
flesh out this story. And it's one of those weekends, the ones we've been talking about is the 19th through the 21st, and
Yep.
is about mapping out the basic beats of your story, whether it's fiction or memoir or personal storytelling. And we do that 3 times a year because, and we do it kind of clumped together. We do it, it's September through April
Mhm.
where we do these 3 weekends. And then there's this nice kind of late spring, summery time where we're not doing that intense stuff, but that stuff will carry you through those weekends and you can redo
Well,
them
yeah.
while you're inside. We actually encourage you to read, keep doing them, keep doing the prompts and things like that,
Yep.
even after the weekend, because you've now got kind of just taken a shot at it over the weekend. And now it's about actually, kind of trying on all the clothes and doing all the things inside of it for a
Yep.
few months before we get to the next weekend.
Because the process is very, circular.
It
Um,
is very circular. Yeah.
and then we've included in there quarterly one-on-one coaching calls with Kelly or I. There's programs where you can be with us every month and have us reading stuff. If you're just starting out, you probably don't want to put that kind of
You don't
pressure
need
on
that. You
yourself.
do not do
Don't
that
need
part.
it, but some people that are getting ready, more than getting ready to be ready, they're getting ready to be out in the world, usually take on that one. But yeah, if this is of interest to you, if you want to take that year journey with us, then uh, all you have to do to start is get on a call.
Yeah. If you want to know really about the year thing for yourself, book the call. You're going to talk to Holly. She created this program, but I am deeply in it. If you're doing memoir or personal storytelling, I am holding the space for that. Um, And we've also set it up, and we've talked about this already too, that if today saying yes to a year-long program or even yes to the phone call is a little daunting, but I would suggest even if you have an inkling to it and you're still afraid or not sure that you can afford it or whatever, still book with Holly. Because no matter what, we definitely would love for you to be there next weekend, the
Yeah,
19th through the 21st, to let us in live time walk you through these prompts about the basic structure of story, the beats of your story, because you will get a hell of a lot out of that. And if you then go, okay, this was it. I like you guys. I like this process. This is great. We will whatever you spent on the weekend will go towards your year-long thing.
yeah.
You consider yourself then officially in. If you say, you know what, yes, I'm yes for that. But if you know you're ready, if this feels like the thing, then get on the call with Holly and she'll answer all the
We'll
questions.
figure it out. There's
And
there's other ways to play with us too, and stay in the
yes,
community anyway, if it's like out of the range at the moment.
yes,
We really are all about trying to help as much as we can in
no
one.
matter what.
We have to keep the core program small just because, as you probably figured out, Kelly and I know no other way than to pour our entire hearts into this kind of stuff. So we keep it small and keep it, and we just only have so many hours. So that's, yeah.
And Holly will tell you about those other ways that are less time commitment, less resourced commitment,
Yeah.
if you get on a call with her. So that's really, it's just helpful to just go to talk to her because she designed all this stuff. And some of you already have. So we're thrilled about that.
Yeah.
It is 10:30. I'm going to undo the live piece of this if we are done sharing, I do believe, with
We
everything we've
are.
done.